السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله الذي وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد. نادي الاقتصاد الإسلامي once again honored to invite all the participants, attendees, and professionals to this special session on Islamic legal maxims. We have been uh, running the sessions since first session of the Islamic legal maxims till today, and today is our fifth session of the Islamic legal maxims, and we are listening, and we have been listening to Professor Dr. Luqman Zakaria, and Professor Dr. Luqman Zakaria is former department of the head of the Department of Fiqh and Usul al-Fiqh, International Islamic University, Malaysia, and currently he is the head of the department and also full professor of jurisprudence and religious studies of Federal University of Kashmir, Nigeria. So let me without further ado, let me call upon and invite Professor Dr. Luqman Zakaria to conduct the session on maxims, legal maxims on authority of custom in Islamic law. So please welcome Dr. Luqman Zakaria. فليتفضل مشكورة دكتور.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
السلام ورحمة الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Dr. Muhammad Mahiddin, for the brave introduction. And we also welcome all our participants all over the world to this last session of our lessons on Islamic legal maxims, al-Qawa'id al-Fiqhiyya. We also thank our hosts, Nadi al-Iqtisadi al-Islami, the Jamiat al-Kuwait, for giving us this opportunity to share our knowledge and to benefit from different parts of the world, their participation in this session. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it beneficial for all of us in this life and the hereafter. I would like to verify and confirm whether the slide is visible by everyone.
Yes, doctor, it's clear.
Okay, that's good. Alhamdulillah. The last maxims that we will be treating in today's class is al-ada muhakkam. As we've known that we've treated 4 legal maxims before, and those legal maxims, together with today's legal maxim, are the general and basic legal maxims agreed upon by Muslim scholars. And there is no any book of fiqh or book of qawaid fiqhiyya that you will never find these 5 legal maxims. The first one is al-umur bimaqasidiha. Matters are considered, judged according to the intention, motive behind it. The second one is al-yaqeen la yazulu bishak. Certainty cannot be repelled by doubts. And the third one is al-mashaqqatu tajlibu at-taysir. Difficulties, hardship begets facilities and provision in Islam. The fourth one is ad-darar yuzal or la darara wa la dirara. Ad-darar yuzal, harm must be removed, or la darara wa la dirara. No harm should be inflicted to someone, and no harm should be reciprocated in Islam. So those are the four legal maxims that we've treated in our sections previous weeks. Today we will be going through the last one, which is al-ada muhakkama, that is, custom is authoritative, and the subdivisions or subsidiary of this legal maxim. So the table of contents today will be to treat the main legal maxim first. Secondly, to tell us the meaning of this legal maxim. And third, to give us some subsidiaries of the main legal maxim. Then we now go through the applications in Islamic financial transaction. The main legal maxim, which is al-ada muhakkama, that is, custom is authoritative, is the fifth legal maxim, as I've said. And customary usage in Islam is well accepted, well authoritative, and well explained in the book of fiqh. Islam recognizes these ada as an authoritative on which judgment can be based. We can base our judgment based on the urf of the community we live in as much as there is no any contradiction with the texts of Islam. The recourse to custom date back to the epoch of the prophets. During the time of the prophets, there are many instances in which the Prophet ﷺ referred to the custom of the people he lived with. And after the death of the demise of the prophets, the companions also had recourse to the use of custom, same as other epochs that comes after the two generations, the tabi'in wa tabi'i tabi'in. So there are many cases reported in which rulings in Islamic law are based on the customs of the people. Imam Maliki ibn Anas rahimahullah ta'ala has no any reason or doesn't have any hesitation to accept Amal Ahl al-Madina, Amal Ahl al-Madina as one of the sources of Islamic law whenever there is no any disputes, wherever there is any dispute in making law, in as much as there is no any explicit text in the Quran or hadith of the Prophet. So though Imam Maliki view on Amal Ahl al-Madina suggests that Amal Ahl al-Madina is not only urf of people of the Medina, but a practical exercise of what the Prophet left behind, which no one should go against. What I mean by this is that Imam Maliki doesn't want to promote Amal Ahl Madina from the whim and the caprice of him, but he believes that the Prophet ﷺ must have left some practices of which the companions after the Prophet and the generation after that laid their hand on. So based on that, he believes that this uruf emerged right from the time of the prophets till the generation after them. And I think our Sheikh Yasin Dotin has a book written called The Origin of Islamic Law, Mu'atta Imam Maliki as a case study. So anyone who wants to know more about Amal Ahl Madina as a custom of people of Medina being authoritative in Islam can look into the book. The fifth and the last legal maxims agreed upon, as I said, is al-ada muhakkama. Al-ada, what is ada? Ada is defined as practice or practices that have been penetrated deep among people by recurrence and acceptable to people of sound nature or a repeated matter which has no connection with reason. Urf is said to be synonymous with al-'ada because they resemble each other in definition and concept. But it is technically, urf is technically defined as what is established in life from reason and acceptable by sound natural disposition. So the difference between al-'ada and al-urf is that something al-'ada may not be from reason. For instance, ada of menstruation. There is no any reason, a connectivity with reason. It's just a natural occurrence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created. But people can find reason to it. But al-uruf, there must be reason in it. When you ask people who are performing that uruf, they will tell you the reason behind that uruf. But it is also must be accepted by people of sound natural disposition, not just people of bad nature. That is why if someone claims to have a custom or uruf of nakedness, that will not be accepted because it is not accepted by people of sound natural disposition. So giving custom legal rulings in Islam it is inevitable because Islam is a universal deen. And since the revelation ceased to come, recourse to urf becomes inevitable. So when you say that we have to stick to the text, then there is no any recurrence for text in our generation since the demise of the prophets. So in that case, we need to have recourse to custom, but that custom must be in line with the text, doesn't contradict the text, as I will explain later. Sources of Islamic legal maxim. There are numerous various sections in the Quran and Hadith of the prophets in which the use of custom could be inferred. The Quran, chapter 7, verse 199, that is Surah Al-A'raf, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, خُذْ الْعَفْوَ وَأْمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ is a verse that many scholars have referred to as the basis for the application or authoritativeness of al-uruf in Islam. Al-Qurtubi, in explaining this revelation, it says, the relevance of the word in question saying urf, ma'ruf, or ma'rifa is anything that is good and is approved by reason and acceptable by mankind. Meaning that that verse refers to the use of custom practices of people if it is accepted by them and there is no any contradiction between it and the text of Islam. Sheikh Zarqa, in his book, says that the word urf in this verse forms the proof for the legality of urf in this context, because the customary practice of people is normally a good practice and reasonable accepted. Quran chapter 4, Surah An-Nisa, verse 19 also can be a basis for the accepted or acceptable of urf in Islam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ عَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Regarding this particular verse, Sheikh Nadawi says that God enjoys both couples to live together and give each other their due rights based on their custom and culture. Such interpretation, therefore, certainly change according to different nations and different people. So, according to Nadawi, this verse that we recited, وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, is an indication that the couples, wife and husband, should live according to the custom of their vicinity or environment. So a wife cannot demand something more than what is known in the area, in the community. Likewise, husband cannot impose anything on woman, on his wife, beyond what is known as a custom in that particular area. In the tradition of the prophets, we can find some instances of giving custom authority and arbitration. Uh, when you look at the hadith of Barra bin Asib, who came to the prophet and asked about an animal entering the garden of a man and destroying it. The prophet said, the safety of the property is to be borne by the owner of the property in the day, and the safety of the animal is to be borne by the owner of the animal in the night. So the prophet adjudicated the case according to the existing norm, existing custom of people in Medina, that in the day, the safety of that guarding the property should be borne and should be the responsibility of the owner of the property. So you have to take care of your property in the day. And if any animal destroy it, the responsibility or liability is not on the owner of the animal. However, in the night, then the responsibility of taking care of the animal is to the owner of the animal. That is how the Prophet ﷺ judged the issue that Barra bin Asib came to ask about. So, remarking on the effect of this hadith, Ibn Hajar, Ibn Najjar, in his book, says, this is the cogent and best ever proof of considering Ada in Islamic rules. That hadith of the Prophet reported in Al-Barra bin Asib is a cogent evidence of the application of urf in Islamic law. Al-Qarrafi, in explaining the importance of urf in Islamic law, it says, any ruling in Sharia that was enacted based on custom changes to the new custom once the custom changes. That is, al-ahkam al-mabniya ala al-urf تتغير بتغير الأزمان تتغير بتغير الأزمان. Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawzi rahimahullah ta'ala also said something to the importance of al-urf. He says, anyone who gives fatwa based on only extraction from the text, that is kutub, in spite of the differences in customs, times, places, and situation, such person has gone astray and has misled people in Ilam al-Muwaqqi'in. So it is not allowed for someone to give judgment according to just only the extraction from the book without looking at the prevailing custom of the people he wants to give fatwa for. But to use urf has conditions, and those conditions can be divided broadly into two. The first one is that before you can use urf, that urf should not go against what is explicitly mentioned in the Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet. So any urf that goes against the text of Islam is nullified, as I said earlier on. But if the text is based on the urf, according to the text of hadith of the Prophet of Al-Barra bin Asib, that law can be changed according to changes in the urf, because that law initially was based, that is ruling that the Prophet gave, was based on the existing urf. But if there's no any connectivity between the text and the urf, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his apostle prophets enacted any ruling without any connectivity with urf of people, then that urf, any urf shouldn't go against it. The second one is that The uruf should not go against what was stipulated in the contracts, because condition in contract is superior than the uruf. What I mean by that is that sometimes, yes, of course, there is no any text regulating issue in your community, but when the two contractual parties are given some conditions that this is what I want the contract to be, then that uruf, any other uruf shouldn't go against that stipulated condition. Because if it goes against that condition, then it means there is no any essence to have condition. I give an example, very simple, is that an agent, al-wakil, if someone asks him, I want to appoint a wakil, an agent, and I told him that I want you to use these 1,000, I want you to buy for me a car of $1,000. $1,000. Now, this is the condition. I don't want more than that. I don't want more than $1,000. So the agent goes to the market and he sees the car for $500. $500. He can buy it. He can buy it because it has been in an uruf that people want to gain from whatever they want to do. However, if he goes beyond $1,000 and he buys the commodity for $1,200, that is not accepted without the permission from the client, simply because the uruf cannot go against the condition. The uruf cannot go against the condition because the condition says, I want it to be 1,000. I want it to be 1,000. So for you to go beyond, it means you contradict the condition. But if you come down, that doesn't contradict the condition you agreed upon. Having said that, there are many subsidiaries of this legal maxim. The first one is استعمال الناس حجة يجب العمل بها. استعمال الناس حجة يجب العمل بها. People's practice is authoritative and should be reckoned with. Yeah, anything that people are using as a way of communication or as a norm governing their way of life in particular place in the market, in professional, in banking and finance, it is authoritative and it must be reckoned with. It must be accepted and it must be given authority. This is one of the subsidiaries of the legal maxims, al-ada muhakkama. As I said, the people's use of language or name should not contradict the text. So even that isti'mal al-nas shouldn't go against the text, as I will explain during the application of all the legal maxims on the al-ada muhakkama. The second one is al-ma'ruf urfan kal-mashrutu shartan. Al-ma'ruf urfan kal-mashrut shartan. What is known by the virtue of custom is as a stipulated condition. Is as a stipulated condition. What does it mean is that when something is known to all of us as urf, al-ma'ruf urfan, it has been known that this is how we conduct our affairs in the market. This is the way we do in the bank. These are the rules and regulations of banking. Kal-mashrutu shartan. It will be like a stipulated condition. So we do not need to spell out the condition anymore in the contract because it is already known as the urf of that community. But if someone is coming, a foreigner is coming to do business in that particular community, he needs to know the condition, the urf of that particular place, because if he doesn't put any condition in any contracts, the custom of that place will prevail if there's any disputes. If there's any disputes, the custom of the people will prevail. Let me give you an example, which is very common. We may not look into it. A foreigner coming from, say, from America to Australia, and he took a taxi from the airport for $100. $100. Oh, taxi driver, I'm going to University of Newcastle. He said $1,000, and he jumped into the car, and the driver took him to Newcastle University. When they arrived there, he gave him $100 of American $100. There may be no any issue because $100 of America may be more value than $100 or $1,000 of Australia. Where if there's any dispute, the driver can take it and go. However, if similar person or another person from, let's say, Zimbabwe, where they use dollar as well, someone from Zimbabwe came to Australia or went to US, and he jumped into the car, and they told him $1,000 to where you are going to. And when he got there, he gave them 1,000 Zimbabwean dollar. And you may see that $1 of America may be more than $1,000 of Zimbabwe. Then, if the visitor from Zimbabwe claimed that, oh, that is what we use in our country, you said dollar and I gave you $1,000 of what I know, they will say, no, you are in America, Australia, and you must use the dollar they are using there. So they don't tell you dollar of where you're coming from, but they are telling you dollar of the country you came to visit. So al-ma'ruf urfan kal-mashrutu shartan. You may not need to say $1 US. You don't need to say it in your country, since it has been known that we spend $1,000 American dollar. At-ta'yinu bil-urf kat-ta'yin bin-nas. So what is stipulated by the virtue of urf is as what is stipulated by the text. So this is also advanced on the second one, that if something has been stipulated by urf, is being known by urf. Urf has stipulated that when you buy a car, there must be 4 tires, there must be a key, there must be air conditioned because it live in very hot weather. This has been at-ta'yin bil-urf, kat-ta'yin bin-nas. It will be like we've written it down in the contract that the car you want to deliver for me should have 4 tires. Even if the extra tire is part of the custom, we do not need to write it. Then you have to deliver the car to the client with extra tire with the key and the air condition, if that is the norm that has been stipulated by the custom. And this is what they call customary law. In many places in the UK, they have what they call unwritten constitution. That is al-urf, that they don't need to write it. Everybody knows what is going on. So if there's any disputes, the judge will give judgment according to the prevailing urf of that particular place. The other one is inna al-'ada tuhkam fima la dhabt lahu shari'an. Ada is enforced where there is no legal detail. If there is no any legal detail, written document, or nothing in the Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet indicates something that we have dispute on, then the ada will be enforced, will be recourse to. He will be our arbitrator. He is the one that we define or define what we are disputing in any occurrence. Next is إنما تعتبر العادة إذا طردت أو غلبت. إذا طردت أو غلبت. This maxim subsidiary but is a condition of operating the ada or urf. That is, effect is only given to ada that is regularly occurring or universally prevailing. What they mean by this is that when the ada is not regular, that is, in a country or in a region where some practices are not well known, effect will not be given to rates. Let me give you an example. For instance, in Malaysia, if you say dollar, you don't mean dollar, US dollar, American dollar, Singapore dollar, Australia dollar. You mean ringgits. But few people are using these words to indicate ringgits. So, in essence, if there is any dispute between two parties on the language used to pronounce or to do the contracts, you cannot claim that you mean the dollar of America or this. You must use the language everybody knows, which is al-ada al-ghaliba. Because you cannot say, no, I mean dollar of America. So if you say $100 at the airport, and I gave you 100 ringgits, you cannot tell me that, no, I mean $100 American dollar, because that is not a prevailing ada. It is not a prevailing ada. It is your own way of saying things, or is a restricted ada of some particular people, which must be explained. So when a visitor comes from Riyadh or Kuwait to Malaysia, and he jumped on the car, and the driver says, oh, you are going to IUM, International Islamic, very far away, $1,000. And I got to IUM, I gave you 1,000 ringgits. And you are claiming that you mean $1,000 US because we are from the airport. I will tell you that no, I don't know that dollar is used in Malaysia. I know that ringgit is used. So, but if you mean dollar of America, you must tell the passenger that, I mean, before you go from the airport, you say 1,000 US dollar, 1,000 US dollar. So that if there is any disputes, then it will know that you have specifically mentioned contrary to the prevailing ada of Malaysia. The next one is al-ibratu lil-ghalib al-shai' la nadir. Effect is only given to a prevailing widespreading custom, not a real one. And this is the same with the first one, but it is also giving you that we only accept custom that is shaya and ghalib, not the nadir. But the nadir also can be used, the real one can be used among people who know this. If at the airports, they know among themselves that if they are talking about US dollar, then that could be their own ada. If they want to deal with any other person from another place, they must specify that they mean $1,000 of America, US dollar, not 1,000 ringgit, as many people know that ringgit is prevailing currency in Malaysia. Last among the subsidiaries legal maxim is لا ينكر تغير الأحكام بتغير الأزمان. لا ينكر تغير الأحكام بتغير الأزمان. It is undeniable that rulings change as the time change. Rulings change according to the changes in time and in situation. This maxims is very important in Islamic jurisprudence, Many scholars have referred to it in their book. Al-Qarafi vehemently explained that though you may disagree that Islamic law may not be changed uh, with any reason, but if the text of Islam, the Quran and Sunnah, the ruling there are based on the uruf, according to Hadith Barra bin Asib, the law, the ruling also will be changed because that law cannot be operational in that particular time when the law, the rules, the norms have changed. So Islamic law in this regard is flexible in terms of changing if the law is only conditioned or based on the earth. Now we are coming to the application of these legal maxims, and I will run few minutes on this. First of all, the practices of interest today cannot be justified on the basis of urf because there is a direct text forbid such practice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَى. And the Prophet ﷺ explained in different hadith the prohibition of riba. So if riba becomes known as we know today, then we will say that it is not accepted, it is not a norm because it contradicts the text. So there is no need to mention any known customary practices. That's the second one. There is no any need to mention any customary practice in a sale contract. Thus, the garden surrounding a house will be included in the sale contracts of the house without mentioning it, as it is a norm and custom that is collectively accepted by people. What I mean by this is that if norm is well known that when you buy a house, the surrounding, the garden surrounding that house is yours, especially when it is demarcated. When it is demarcated by 50 by 50 square meter, is your house. So, and there are some left behind space. That space will be used by you because it's part and parcel of the good or the property you bought. So we do not need to mention that the garden behind you and this is part or a part of the house you bought. So the condition of offer and acceptance can be done without any utterance if that is known customarily. Thus, Be'ul Mu'atats is accepted based on the customary practice of people. This is ongoing debate among the schools of jurisprudence whether Bir al-Ma'atat is accepted or not. But the majority of Muslim scholars today accepted Bir al-Ma'atat, especially where the price is known. You know, many people will just go to cash and carry, we will see the property or the good labeled with the price. And when you take it, even the barcode is there. And when you take this commodity, you go to the till, you don't meet anybody there. You scan it, it tells you the price, and you pay the price, and you can take the good out of the mall or the shop. So this is very ma'atat, which customarily is accepted as opposed to the rules and regulations governing the al-bay'. Because according to the rules of bay' is ijab wal qabul, ijab wal qabul. But because what we are trying to guide against in ijab wal qabul has been found in the way we do transaction today, then the Muslim scholars said there will be no any problem if we do the contract based on mu'atat. A customary practice of giving tips or gift could lead to riba or rishwa bribes, even if it is not stipulated in the contract. I will advance on this later, but I make this as a general application that a matter recognized by custom is regarded as if stipulated by agreements. What I'm trying to say here is that if tips become part and parcel of our custom, that if you do work or you are working in a place and you are getting your salary every time, then it has been stipulated or it has been a custom that even when you do this work, I give you a tip. If I don't give you the tip, you will not do the work. Then it becomes part of bribery, which is haram, if it has been custom. But if it is not a custom and is not known, but voluntarily, someone just give you as a gift, then it could be accepted. However, hadiyatul amil rishwa, hadiya al-amil rishwa, gift given to a person who is being employed become rishwa. But however, if you give him out of the work, then it may not be an issue. But if it is a customary known that you must give him before he do the job, before he does the job, then it become haram based on the urf. A matter recognized by urf is regarded as if it is stipulated by agreement. So it means it will be like an agreement that I have to do it. If I don't do it, you don't do the job, then it becomes a rishwa or riba. Any dispute arises between two parties. The custom of the land in which the dispute emerges shall be used to settle the disputes. And that could be a case of multinational national companies disputes. So when a company from America comes to Kuwait and they are doing contract with them, if nothing has been written black and white between the two, contrary to the custom, if there is any dispute, the custom of that place, that country that they made the contract will prevail if they go to the court. And that is why most of the companies who come to Muslim country to do contract according to Islamic contract should be obliged to take the court, to take the case to the country that that these contracts emerge with from. So it won't be a justice to take the case out of the Muslim country whereby the contract is agreed upon in that particular place. Similarly, if the contracts established in non-Muslim country between non-Muslim and Muslim company, then the prevailing, if there is any dispute, the prevailing custom of that non-Muslim country will be adjudicated. However, if it is stipulated clearly in the contract, contrary to the law of that country, not Muslim country, then they must respect that condition because any al-Muslimuna ala shurutihim, al-Muslimuna ala shurutihim. Also, that also can be said between one Muslim country and another Muslim country. Let us take an example of Malaysia and the Gulf countries, where Bayul is accepted to some extent in Malaysia transaction, but in the Gulf country is not accepted. So the uruf of the country where that contract zeal should be given authority when there is any dispute. The safety of the property shall be established by the customary practices of the land. Similarly, the fair use of a rent property shall be determined by the custom of the land. What I mean by this is that when we have a property, we buy the property or we rent the property, the safety of that property shall be established by the customary practices of the land. Saying that, well, let's say the car. If I rent a car and the custom says that I must take care of this car if I drive it so time, or for 1 week or for 1 month, then I must take care of the car. Or the house I rent, I must take care of it. Then that rules should be applied because the custom of that place is that the property should be taken care of if it is used for 1 week or 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. However, custom also need to define what is a fair use of a rent property. If I rent a property, the owner may say, if there is no any written document that you cannot do this, you cannot do that in that house, then the fair use of that property will be considered by the custom of that land, not as I used to be in my country. If I'm in my country, I can demolish, I can repair, I can change the shape of the house. If that is the custom in my country, then I cannot say that in another country because the rules and regulation or the uruf is quite different from one place to another. Case, this is a case study, the use of word interests. I want to leverage on this and expand it a bit. استعمال الناس حجة يجب العمل به, as we said, that people's practice is authoritative and should be reckoned with. This submission can be easily refuted by considering another text in which uttering ambiguous expression is prohibited. So, if the use of word is ambiguous or inherited some prohibition, like the word riba and word interest, someone may claim that, well, riba and interest is not the same because the translation of riba is usury and we are using interest. We say, yes, of course, you can use that word, but since that word can mean riba in the Muslim norm, then that word may not be used. And that qaida isti'mal al-nas hujjatun yajib al-amal bihi will be disregarded. The evidence is in the Quran when Allah says, O believers, address not the Prophet by the word ra'ina. La taqulu ra'ina wa qulu zurna. But address him respectively and listen to him. So the reason for this prohibition is that the word ra'ina has been used wrongly and abusively by some group of non-Muslims in Medina. So though the Muslim didn't want to use it in that way, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cautions the Muslim not to say ra'ina because the word has been used in a wrong connotation. So if interest today has been clouded with ambiguity, then it is the best interest of Islam and Muslims not to use that word interest. So another argument for rejecting the term interest in both conventional and Islamic transaction is because it is prohibited in Islam. However, if the word has become the conventional norm in a society, which does not necessarily mean the prohibited one, should it be disapproved? I think is something that we need to use. If the word is used not on the interest basis or riba basis, but it is purely means profits, can it be used? As I said earlier on, it is better for Muslims to refrain from something like that because ambiguous word shouldn't be used in Islam. Another maxim which says, al-ma'ruf urfan kal-mashrutu shartan, what is known by the virtue of custom is a stipulated condition, could be used to state that since the phrase is well known among the two parties, it does not contain a prohibited transaction. That is the word interest. However, the claim that the real meaning of interest in the Western custom is profit margin added to business deals can have its way in a subsidiary maxims on custom, which states al-haqiqatu tutrak bidalalati al-ada. Real meanings shall be left out for denotation of custom. What I mean by this is that the haqiqat of interest, the haqiqah is riba, usury, because it's something advanced from usury to become interest. So that word should be left or used for haqiqah. Al haqiqah tutrak bidalalati al ada. So that haqiqah will be left out and recourse should be to the al ada. If ada has defined it not to mean interest, then it will not be interest or riba. But if the custom still remain that interest is riba, then we have to uphold the prohibition of use of interest as a way of communication. Another application is the stipulating condition in sales. Stipulation of condition in sales. The classical Muslim scholars are full of, in the classical book, we can have reference statements which are such as customary practice carries substantial weight in determining the condition of ijara and murabaha. That is, in the book of Muslim scholars, they have referred to customary practice of people in determining the condition of ijara and murabaha. So in ijara, custom will prevail. What's the way you can use a rented property? Even in murabaha, so what kind of ribh we can agree upon? Custom also needs to justify that. So to the extent of a customary practice wherein parties do business in the market with free consent and any unforeseen events are also taken into account, it will be permissible on the basis of urf. So if there is no any condition, any regulation, then urf in the markets will be consulted to regulate our affairs, our activities, as it has been in the case of down payments. Bail al-Urbun, the OFI, the OIC, they all agree or allowed down payments with the condition that a time limit is specified. A time limit is specified. So the down payment for any commodity, we should say, well, between now and tomorrow, you should come and tell me that you are not interested in this commodity so that I can sell it to another person. If not, then the uruf will take over. If the uruf says, after 2 days, 3 days, you do not come, then the money has gone, so that we can protect the interest of the seller rather than to make him be in hardship. Now, yes, also related to musharaka, I will not. It says generally we need to have condition. If the condition says, well, if you don't do this, this is what is going to happen, then it will be entertained if there is any dispute among the two parties in any court of law. Let me go. Condition must not contradict the text or the effect of the sale. This is very important in using the urf. According to the Hanafi school and Shafi and Maliki school, condition put by the parties can either be valid or void. So the valid one is divided into 3 categories. The first one is include those conditions that confirm the effect of the sale. Effect of the sale. For instance, a condition in contract of sales stipulating that the subject matter of the sale should be delivered to the buyer's address is valid. If that is the condition, that, okay, I want to buy the car, but you have to deliver it to my house, that serves the purpose of the sale. The second one refers to those conditions, the effect of which agree with the purpose of the contract of sale. that is muqtada al-aqd. For example, the seller may require pledge or a guarantor if the buyers want to pay the price later. So that before you take my commodity, I need a guarantor because you are going to pay after 1 month. That is also accepted because it serves the purpose of the contract of sales. But the third one includes those conditions that are customarily accepted. Customarily accepted. For example, the purchaser may require certain services that, according to custom, a seller should provide. So if that is the case, then these may include stipulating a guarantee period during which the purchaser may demand a repairing of the sold item, such as construction of road, building costs, etc. So customarily, I can say, well, I want to buy this car from you, but you will repair it for 1 to 3 years. If there is any problem with the car, it is accepted because it is customarily stipulated that, well, I cannot buy this car new and it got faulty next week, next day. So I need a guarantee. And that is why many electronics today have a warranty, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. If there is anything with it, you give it back to the manufacturer. They will repair it or they will return your money back. This is also accepted according to the custom. Capacity of an agent subject to the urf. That is, an agent should exercise his capacity according to the urf. Like unrestricted agency, so you just give him money to do the business. So he must do that business according to the urf. He cannot do the business according to what he wants. If the money got lost, he has to pay back because he doesn't do according, or he doesn't exercise his power according to the urf. So the urf supposed to regulate the way and manner the agent should use the money to engage in business. I think this is almost to the last. Gift giving on loan and custom. And this is where we will end up the talk before we give time for the question and answer. There is legal maxim which says, كل قرض جر نفعا فهو ربا. كل قرض جر نفعا فهو ربا. Any loan, sorry, not loan, any loan that attracts benefits to the lender, it is riba. Any loan جر نفعا كل قرض جر نفعا فهو ربا. The qard contract must be free of any expected return or benefit to the lender. If it is qard hasan, as we said in the first section of our principle of sales, you cannot benefit from qard hasan. You must make sure that you do it for Allah's sake. There is no any excess except if the borrower willingly gives you more than what he took from you, as we will explain. Any stipulated return or benefit to the lender amounts to riba and is prohibited. So the principle regarding stipulated benefits to the lender is derived from the hadith, which states any loan which results in a benefit is considered a form of riba. كل قرض جر نفع فهو riba. But Muslim jurists from different fiqh, while discussing the hadith, deduced the general principles that any benefit gained from loan by the lender is considered usury if the benefit is stipulated in the loan agreement. If the benefit is stipulated, so we have to underline this expression. If it is stipulated, However, if a borrower voluntarily returns the borrowed money in higher quality or quantity or value, such an act is commendable. Similarly, if a lender, that is the borrower, or the lender is willingly to take back the loaned money in less or lower quantity and quality of value of his free will, this act is also regarded as commendable. So both the borrower and the lender must have free will to do generosity. If the borrower believes that, oh, this guy has loaned me money and he didn't mention any stipulated increase on it, and when he returns the money back, he puts more, he gives more than what he borrowed. Or the lender, on his own will, he lent 1,000 and he said, no, don't give me 1,000, just give me 500. I'm okay with that. Without any force on him, it is allowed. The evidence for that is Abu Huraira radiallahu ta'ala anhu related that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is said, the best among you is the one who pays the rights of others generously. So when you give out the due of people generously, with kindness, with thank you, with some other gift, without being stipulated, that it is good and it is best in Islamic norm. There are also other numerous narration that support the legality of unstipulated benefits to the lender. So Abu Rafi reported that Allah's Messenger took from a man as a loan a young camel, less than 6 years. Then the camel of Sadaqah were brought to him. He ordered Abu Rafi to return to that person the young camel as a return of the loan. So Abu Rafi returned to him and said, I did not find among them but better camel above the age of 6. He, the Prophet, said, give that to him, for the best men are those who are best in paying off the debt. So that also indicates that when you want to return debt, you may return back what is the best, higher, but if it is not stipulated. So also we have Hadith Jabir ibn Abdullah, which is reported that the Prophet ﷺ paid me the debt he owed me and gave me an extra amount. So however, this is where the problem lies. If it is, however, it is prohibited for a lender to receive gifts from a frequent borrower or where there is a custom. This is where we are coming to link this with the custom. If there is a custom allowing the lender to receive some type of benefit from the loan, or where there exists a prior agreement allowing the lender to benefit from the loan, that will be disapproved based on the principle at-ta'yin bil-urf kat-ta'yin bin-nas. If something is being stipulated by urf, it's like a stipulated text or agreement. So that agreement, by virtue of custom, become a riba if you give more than what you receive, or you take more than what you receive, then you contradict the hadith of the Prophet that says, "Kullu qardin jarra naf'an fahuwa riba." Kullu qardin jarra naf'an fahuwa riba. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us understanding of these legal maxims and the application of them in our transactions, so that all our deeds, our activities in trade and in any form of sales will be in accordance with the injunction of Islam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to drive all the Muslims away from riba or anything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibited, so that our income, our earnings will be lawful, and our mind, our soul will be purified by the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to live in this life. and we see the pleasure of Allah in the day of resurrection. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولجميع المسلمين إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. ما شاء الله وجزاكم الله خيرا أستاذ دكتور لقمان. ما شاء الله، شكرا على ما قدمت من شرح القاعدة العادة المحكمة. ما شاء الله. بارك الله فيك أستاذ. Now we just open the session for some questions so that you may explain to the students. And let us see first the written question. I think there is a question, only one written question from Allah Hassan. He's asking إلى أي حد يمكن اعتماد القواعد العرفية كأصل لتطوير المعاملات المصرفية الإسلامية وإيجاد مخارج شرعية لها، وهل هناك من نماذج تطبيقية؟ يعني to what extent can the ADA rules be used as a basis for developing Islamic banking transactions and finding the legitimate exits from there? And if there is any practice currently in any country. So please, Doctor.
Yeah, I think all what have been said about al-ada, al-qawaid al-urfiyya are very germane to the way that we can use custom to advance the Islamic finance. Let me tell you unequivocally and advance on what I've said before, that our scholars, especially the books that have been written in Arabic, need to be translated into English for those who want to do business in Islam, especially in the banking sectors. That we need to know what are the legal texts, that is al-nusus al-shar'iyya al-mabniyya ala al-urf. We need to know them. We don't know these nusus al-shar'iyya al-mabniyya ala al-urf al-muta'alliqat bil-ma'amalat al-maliyya. We may not do justice to ourselves and to the society. And we may prohibit something that Allah doesn't prohibit. And we may even permit something that Allah doesn't permit. So that is why Sheikh al-Nadawi, Hafidhahullah lana, in his Musu'at al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya wa Dawabit al-Fiqhiyya fi al-Ma'amalat al-Maliyya, he mentioned the texts or some texts that are based on urf. So we need to extract all these texts and try to see how we can use them by analogy in our day-to-day activities in the banking sectors, in Islamic banking and finance. That is first thing that we should do, to use al-qawaid al-urfiyya ka'aslin litatwir al-ma'amalat al-masrafiyya. We need to find some text from the Quran. That's first. The second one is that anything that we are doing today and do not have any text in the Quran and Hadith, if it has aqwal al-fuqaha, we need to trace those aqwal al-fuqaha, whether those aqwal al-fuqaha, that is opinion of our Muslim scholars, emanated from the custom of the people in their time. Because sometimes in Kutub al-Fuqaha, Maliki, Shafi, Hanbali, Hanafi, our great scholars in those madhahib, they based their opinions sometimes on the existing uruf in their time. So if their opinions were based on the uruf of that time, we need to extract them and juxtapose them, that is, compare them with the existing norm today to see whether we can still uphold their opinion or we can change those opinions based on لا ينكر تغير الأحكام بتغير الأزمان. According to Nadawi, حفظه الله لنا, it says لا ينكر تغير الأحكام الاجتهادية والعرفية بتغير الأزمان. So any rulings that are based on uruf or ijtihad can be changed according to changes in time and circumstances. So there are many examples. For instance, I mentioned about the classical one. They said, viewing the house, that you want to buy. Sometimes just to view one room, just, oh, this one room, okay, like this, okay, you can build it, or I will buy it. It may be enough in those days. It may not. If the Muslim scholar said that no, it is not enough, you have to view all the house because of the gharar. What about al-kharitat, al-aqarat bil-kharitat? That they will give you the map of the house, the sketch of the house, and you pay for it, and they start building it. This is also part of the tatbiqat al-qawaid al-urfiyya based on the urf. Because today it will be very hard to say that you want to view all the houses before you can buy a particular house. They may just give you, even the car we are buying from America and this and that. Yes, the urf is that, what we mean by urf is that I've known what is Toyota 2005 and all the specification. So that urf of knowing the specification of a commodity can be extended to buy any commodity similar to that, even if you do not see it. That is why the Muslim scholar said, Al-gharar yasir yughtafar anhu. Al-gharar al-yasir yughtafar anhu. Any little or mild gharar is tolerable in Islamic finance. We can tolerate that. So these are the few examples that I can mention in using al-qawaid al-urfiyya to develop the Islamic financial system and also to find way out of the Sharia implication for our transaction. But nevertheless, we cannot go beyond the text unless if that text is based on the urf, then we can't do a circumvent, say that since the text is based on the urf and that urf has changed, then the ruling behind that can be changed. So if you want to know more on this, you can read the book of our Sheikh Ali al-Nadawi, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, on Al-Qawaid wa Dawabit al-Fiqhiyya al-Muta'alliq bil-Ma'amalat al-Maliyya.
Sheikh Abul Hassan Ali al-Hassan al-Nadawi.
No, Ahmed, a contemporary scholars on Islam. He has a book on Al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya, and I think he has been with Alfi and some other Islamic banks. Al-Baraka is well known in his writing on Al-Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya in this contemporary. But I believe he's from Nadawi in India.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Doctor. And there is another question from Brother Nuruddin. He is saying that ما هي القاعدة الفقهية التي تؤطر للتعاقد بالتعاطي؟ يعني what is the jurisprudential role قاعدة الفقهية that frames التعاقد بالتعاطي مجرد إعطاء السلعة وأخذ الثمن دون أي صيغة كلام؟ وهل هذا العقد يعتبر نافذا؟ يعني is it valid or not?
Yes, Muslim scholars said that they dispute on it, but the contemporary Muslim scholars look at the urf and al-haja, and they said, since what we are afraid for or from in al-ijab wal-qabul, say I buy it, I sell it, I offer you, I accept it. If what we are afraid for can also be removed from bil ta'ati, meaning that if bil ta'ati is clearly safeguard the right of buyer and the seller, meaning that the machine can tell you, like I offer you, when you take a commodity to detail and the machine is there, say, you scan it, say 20 naira, 20 pounds, 20 ringgits, and you also, okay, fine. You put it in your bag, when you put it in your bag, it's acceptance. Okay? Then you do not need a shakhs, a human being to say, okay, I offer you this commodity and I buy it. Okay? That is the justification of the Muslim scholar that in order to make things easy, based on many qaida, al-mashaqqatu tajlibu at-taysir, ad-darar yuzal, al-umur bimaqasidiha, and al-'adat muhakkama, using all these legal maxims together has been given justification for the at-ta'ati, especially today's transaction where we are selling 1 million items in a company and you cannot expect a company to hire 1,000 people to respond to 1,000 people. If you go to London, probably Ajwe Road and this and that, 1,000 people enter into the mall at a time and they want to buy something from there. So a machine will be provided to tell them the price and to accept. If they don't, they will take it back. They will not take it to their baskets. And if they like, they will take it to their basket, meaning that the acceptance has been established and the offer also by putting the price there, or when you scan it, you get the price, the offer also has been set. So based on this uruf that we know today, then it becomes accepted. Al-ma'rufu urfan kal-mashrutu sharta. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
Shukran, Ustaz. Now we just listen to some questions from the brothers. So you may speak now, Brother Muhammad Rida. Please, welcome. I just open microphone for you, Brother Muhammad Rida. Are you with us? Brother Muhammad Rida, I think he is not here. Okay, brother, I think his spelling is mistake. I just open. Brother Qajan Shaba Mota. I think there is something wrong in his spelling. Are you with us? We just open microphone for you. Brother Muhammad Uthman with us, please speak.
Hello, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
فضيلة الدكتور والله شكرا جزاك الله خيرا بارك الله فيك وزادك الله علما وكذلك المنسكين إن شاء الله نشكركم على هذه الجهود الممتازة. لكن البروف I have just one question about القاعدة كل قرض يعني جرى فيه النفع فهو الربا. أنا عندي استفسار شوية ويعني كلام شوية عن هذا. هو واحد جاني وأتيته يعني الدين القرض يعني فهو سيرد هذا بعد 3 سنوات. تعرف تغييرات العملة لما رجع بالدين كان مثلا $100 لكن لما رجع به الأمور التي $100 ممكن يستطيع أن يشتريها قد زادت. فالآن لو أخذت $100 إذا كنت أريد أن أشتري شيئا كأن هنا فيها ناقص فهل ممكن إذا العملة أنا قدمت له $100 فزادت بعد 3 120 القيمة هل ممكن أقول له لازم يدفع 120 ولا يدفع القديمة $100 فهذا this is my question I have and thank you so much دكتور جزاك الله خيرا. أخوكم عثمان من غانا I'm from Ghana.
أسمعكم وأفهم كثيرا. أجيبكم بالعربية وبالإنجليزية؟
والله كلاهما يا دكتور ما في مشكلة أخوكم من غانا كلاهما أيوة.
كلاهما نعم.
وكذلك دكتور آسف وأنا أكرر الكلام يعني أننا نحتاج إلى ترجمة هذه الكتب من عربية إلى إنجليزية. صراحة هناك إخوة يعني تعلموا اللغة الإنجليزية أكثر من العربية ويأتي إشكالية من هنا. فهو درس يعني الاقتصاد في الإنجليزية وهناك بعض القواعد الشرعية يعني لا يوافق معه. لو كان يعني فيه ترجمة باللغة الإنجليزية لهذه الكتب كما قام به بروفيسور دكتور علي الندبي لكان أفضل. أيوة جزاك الله خير.
نعم شكرا إن شاء الله نعمل جميعا سويا لترجمة بعض الكتب العربية القيمة المكتوبة بالعربية إلى الإنجليزية مع تعاون مع نادي الاقتصاد الإسلامي لاحقا إن شاء الله. أما بالنسبة للسؤال، السؤال الأول $100 قرضا حسنا. إذا قلنا شيئا قرضا حسنا يعني we mean that we do not expect any increase on it. Whether we lose or we gain, we don't want anything. إنما نطعمكم لوجه الله لا نريد منكم جزاء ولا شكورا. And in most cases, when you do something for Allah, the value or the dropping of the price will be there. It won't be as it is today. Even $100 today may not be as the same next week. So because of that, Islam doesn't recognize the changes of the value because it is qard hasana. It's qard hasana. So if it is qard hasana, the one you should be expecting should be that $100 without any stipulated condition that it must put $50 or $20 on top of this $100. If you do that, it becomes riba. Riba and nasi'ah. It becomes riba and nasi'ah. Because you have stipulated a condition that $100 today, I will get it for $120 next month, next year, 2 years, 3 years. I will get it for $120. That is riba and nasi'ah. So, which Allah has prohibited in Surah At-Tawbah. Secondly, if it is not stipulated in that contract, or when you loan the money, you do not say you must return $120 if you want to return that money. You do not say that, but it has been a custom that whenever you have something like that, when you return it back in 2 years, you have to put something on top of it. Then it becomes riba as well. كل قرض جر نفعا فهو ربا. لأن التعيين بالعرف كالتعيين بالنص. التعيين بالعرف. Because urf has stipulated that whenever I want to return قرض حسنة of 1,000, I have to put something on top of it. It becomes like al-mashrutu shartan. So that will lead to riba nasiya as well, either by stipulated in the time of the contract or by the virtue of uruf. It can be riba if he puts more on the money you loan. However, if there is no two condition, that is, there is no any stipulated condition during the loan, and there is no any existing uruf that he will put on top of that extra, and the guy just come to you after 2 years, say, I really appreciate your patience. You have given me too much time. فَإِنْ كَانَ ذُو عُسْرَةٍ فَنَظْرَةٌ إِلَى مَيْسَرَةٍ. You have given me maysara. You have given me some kind of lenience. I really appreciate it. This is your $100, but I will do you surprise. I will give you one car because I've benefited from that $100. I've got so much money. I will give you one car on top of it. And he gave you one car. Please take it. فَكُلُوهَا أَنِيهَا مَرِيئًا. Because it is a gift from him, from free will, without any imposition of condition or urf. You get what I'm saying? So this is the explanation regarding this. But Islam in any way doesn't accept any the value of money because of the time. He always, if it is called the asana, he always asks you to be patient and to be lenient and to be generous, even sometimes to even give it to him. To say, don't take it. If you don't have money, I will give it to you because I still have more money. But if you want it by force, yes, you have your right to take back your money with all costs, especially if you know that the person has money, but he doesn't want to return the debt back, then you can take any legal action against him by selling his property to regain your money back from him. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
Shukran says now brother Abdul Ghafoor, I think he is asking something. Please, brother Abdul Ghafoor. Brother Abdul Ghafur is with us. Okay. I think Umar Khamis, please welcome here.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
I'm your brother, Omar Khamis from Kenya. I'm just asking if possible, when someone, in selling properties, that is, when someone, I can say that I can buy a property that is land, 2 acres. According to our procedures, I have to pay 20% of it so that the seller can process for me the title deed. In this process, I've paid only 20%. I've started, me as a buyer, I've started distributing by 50 by 100, maybe 50 by 100 feet, and I got more than 100 plots. I've already I've sold them, all of them, before getting the title deed. Before يعني أملك ملكية للأرض. هل هذا يجوز في المعاملة الإسلامية؟ I think you got me.
I got you. You are talking about al-milkiyya al-hukmiyya al-razmiyya. So yes, alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam taslima kathira. If the moderator allows me to answer the question, because it's not part of this.
Yeah. It's not relevant, but I think, if you can just share something, it's better, maybe.
Okay, if the process has started and you've paid part of the money, only the deed, title of deed is not being transferred to you completely, but you sold the land. If the custom permits you to do that, if the custom permits you legally, what I mean by custom is that by the law of that land, whether by custom or by written constitution, allows you to do that you can sell it and get your money back, even get profit to settle the remaining money, it is allowed. It's just like someone who bought a house by mortgage. You buy a house by mortgage and you are paying to the mortgagor by installments, and you haven't finished, but you want to sell that house, you want to go and buy the lower one because we cannot pay it back. You know that in most cases, the land, the house is not yet in your name, especially in the West, but in Islam, it must be in your name, okay? But you do not have full authority on that house. The Muslim scholar said you can still sell it. So in that case, the al-milkiyya al-hukmiyya may be allowed if it is the norm of that. But that will not contradict what they said, that وَلَا تَبِعْ مَا لَيْسَ عِنْدَكَ. Don't sell what you do not possess. So, but you can say that you've paid down the money, they've started, and this and that, before they bring the title of deed to you completely. In some country, it takes 2 years, 3 years, even 10 years. Even before you die or after you die, you will get what they call C of O, certificate of ownership. It takes longer. So if you are allowed by law that you can sell it and you pay off the remaining money for the owner of the land, it will be accepted. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam.
Okay, Ustaz, Dr. Luqman, mashallah, we would like to thank on behalf of Nadi al-Iqtisad al-Islami Jamiat al-Kuwait, أيضا من طرف المشرف العام والرئيس Dr. Ala, all the members in the Nadal Iqtisad al-Islami, to you for your brilliant presentation of the Islamic legal maxims and also subsidiaries and the applications in the Islamic financial transactions. So we learned from your 5 series of lectures on the Islamic legal maxims, mashallah. We learned, and all the students and teachers, whoever joined the lectures, I believe all of us benefited from your presentation and from your explanation. Alhamdulillah. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless you with more knowledge, wisdom, and thought, and also with a good health. And we, as well as Nadir Iqtisad al-Islami, pay and also thank all the participants. And also we thank the audience, attendees who joined these 5 lectures and 2 days as well for your participation and for your contribution to the lectures. And we believe that all the participants and attendees will join our next sessions, next lectures, all lectures in Arabic and English by Nadil Iqtisad al-Islami. And may Allah bless you all. And if you have last word, Dr. Luqman Zakaria, please welcome as the last word. Thank you very much.
Okay. Jazakumullah khair. Starting from the Nadi al-Iqtisad al-Islami, the Rais Munassiq, and all the stakeholders in Kuwait, we really thank you for giving us opportunity to share the knowledge with a huge number of participants all over the world, in Maldives, in Kenya, in the States, in the UK, in Europe generally, in Gulf, and other Muslim countries. We thank you for that. And we pray to Almighty Allah to increase you in knowledge, increase you in protection and everything that you want. My thank also goes to my dear friend, my brother, Dr. Muhammad Muhyiddin, for that brilliant coordination of the program, and specifically all the participants right from the beginning of this session, from week 1 to week 5. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to put this deed as one of the acts of ibadah, and to reward us in this life and the hereafter for listening to the word of Allah, to know about our religion, and the promise of the Prophet for those who listen, who come together to learn, to remember Allah, and so on and so forth. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us this reward in all our endeavors. I thank you all. Anything that I have done by mistake is from me and from Shaitan, and anything that is good from what I've said is from Allah and those who taught us the Quran, the Hadith, and the Fiqh. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward all our teachers, our professors who taught us this knowledge. May Allah bless them and reward them abundantly in this life and the hereafter. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Shukran Ustaz, barakallahu fikum. إذن إن شاء الله نكتفي بهذا القدر ونراكم إن شاء الله مرة أخرى. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.